the parliament is in uproar. An opposition MP has risen to speak. The chair of Lok Sabha intervenes and protests grow louder. And then, instead of a motion against the government, a notice is filed against the Speaker of the Lok Sabha in itself. For the first time in years, the authority presiding over the Lok Sabha is under challenge. And the question here is, can a speaker be removed? What does the constitution say? And what happens when the neutrality itself becomes the issue? Because what I am talking about is not just a hypothetical situation, but a constitutional moment right in front of us, where there has been a notice filed for the removal of Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, and an important instance where he has already recused himself from the proceedings before even the motion began. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we are going to look into the Lok Sabha Speaker, his powers, and also understand that how this situation has unfolded. So let us begin with understanding that what exactly has happened. So when we are talking about our Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, there has been a no confidence move against him by the opposition. Now, opposition MPs have already submitted a notice which is seeking the removal of the Lok Sabha Speaker. And in this context, it is very important for us to understand that why exactly this has happened. So this has happened because there have been recent allegations that the Speaker is biased and they have been blatantly partisan in conducting the business of the House, and there have been also allegations around denial of speaking opportunity to the leader of opposition, that is Rahul Gandhi. Now in this context, this motion becomes important because this is a rare constitutional moment where directly the Speaker of Lok Sabha is brought under the scrutiny, and we need to know the whole process around it. Now, another addition that has happened here, that Om Birla has decided to not take in part in proceedings of the House till the motion is introduced and decided upon. However, this recusal is something not mentioned in the constitution before the motion is in practice. So this is something that has been done to ensure the neutrality of the House by Om Birla himself, but we need to understand that what exactly are the provisions around this particular position. Let us begin with understanding more about Speaker of Lok Sabha. So when we are talking about Speaker of Lok Sabha, we need to know that Article 93 brings this into picture of our constitution, where it talks about two special members that Lok Sabha will choose. First, it will choose Speaker. Second, it will choose Deputy Speaker. When we are talking about Speaker and Deputy Speaker, in this context, Speaker will be the one who is the presiding officer of Lok Sabha, and he has the constitutional authority with him. It is not merely a random procedure which has been put in. And when we are talking about Speaker, his tenure is associated with Lok Sabha. That means his tenure will continue till the dissolution of this particular House takes place. So he will remain in office until new Speaker is elected. So that means he remains in the House up and until fresh elections are conducted, and the first meeting happens in the Lok Sabha. Now when we are talking about resignation of Speaker, he can submit his resignation and it is addressed to Deputy Speaker, and his removal is also governed by the Constitution as per Article 94C. We will be moving to discuss this in detail, but before that we have to understand the significance of this particular position. That is the fact that this is the position which symbolizes neutrality, because he is responsible for the conduction of business in Lok Sabha. He is the one who will ensure that there is proper procedural fairness, and most importantly, that parliamentary sovereignty is maintained in the House. So when we are talking about the Speaker who might come up from a certain party, he has to discard that. However, there are no provisions related to leaving or resigning for the certain political party, but they still have to ensure the neutrality, the fairness, and holding of parliamentary sovereignty. So in this context, another important factor that we need to discuss here is about the speaker, that is, what is his role when we are talking about this whole democratic setup and the governance. So in this context, one thing I've mentioned, that it is expected he will be neutral. He will act above the party lines, party politics, especially when we are talking about conduct of the business, even after the elections have taken place. Now, he is not just representing his political party, he has to switch sides towards representing dignity of the Lok Sabha. He will be the custodian of parliamentary privileges which are given to the members of parliament, and he will be the one who interprets the rules of procedure, another important delegation at his hand. Now, Speaker is the one who acts as a final authority in procedural disputes. So, that is why he becomes the interpreter of rules of procedure, and he is the one who stabilizes this institution, especially during political turbulence. So, when we are talking about Speaker of Lok Sabha, the one who is heading this house, minding this house, it is very important that opposition does not feel that he is not being neutral, he is not representing the dignity of the house, and that is why we get to see the presence of removal procedure as well in the constitution, because if the speaker is not delegating what has been set out for him, then there should be a process, a due process to make sure that there is removal. Now, this whole concept constitutionally is based on Westminster model from United Kingdom. Here, neutrality, if you talk about, is based on convention in India. However, as of now in India, it is not a legal compulsion. Can you tell me in the comments section that which country has the legal compulsion of making sure that the speaker has to resign from the political party when he takes up this particular position? On this note, another important question that will be important from the perspective of this particular subject that we are looking into. Who is pro tem speaker? Can you tell me in the comment section? When we are talking about speaker, there is another important position, that is pro tem speaker. Who is pro tem speaker and when he is appointed? Now, we will be moving straight away to look into what exactly are the powers which are present with the speaker, and then we will be moving towards its removal. So, in this context, when we are talking about speaker, he has multiple procedural and presiding powers. So, when we are talking about presiding powers, he is not only responsible for conduct of the proceedings in the Lok Sabha, but he is also responsible for maintaining order and decorum. And he can also suspend disorderly members. Recently, Om Birla had suspended 8 opposition MPs. When we look at presiding powers, we get to see that it is practiced real time. Furthermore, when we are talking about procedural powers, we get to see that he is the one who decides the admissibility of questions which will be taken up, when will be the adjournment motions will be taken up, if they will be taken up or not, no confidence motions as well. So, that means all of this gives the power to the speaker that he will decide what kind of time allocation will take place for debates. And another important factor here is in terms of procedural powers is the casting vote. Now, this comes through Article 100 of our Constitution, that speaker votes only in case of tie, not in the first instance at all. So, this ensures that the legislative decision making continues and speaker does not have to intervene until and unless it is a situation of tie. Now, apart from these presiding and procedural powers, speaker holds some critical powers related to money bills and also anti-defection. When we are talking about money bill, the certification here comes through Article 110, and it is the speaker who decides whether a bill is a money bill or not. And it is speaker's decision which is considered final in this context. And that is why speaker, even though asked to act, expected to act conventionally neutral, this is where it becomes politically significant, because a money bill is such bill that has the ability to bypass Rajya Sabha veto. So, a political party in power, their person at the level of speaker can ensure this facilitation, which will be against the procedural fairness, which will be against parliamentary sovereignty, and also definitely against the neutrality that is expected out of this post. Other than that, there is another critical power which is related to anti-defection law. I am talking about the 10th schedule of our constitution in this context. When we are talking about anti-defection law, the provisions are laid out, yes, but the disqualification of MPs, that is member of parliaments, is decided by speaker. Now this is not a blanket decision. Yes, it is under judicial review. It is subject to judicial review as per Quixote-Holon case of 1992, but that ensures that speaker also has quasi-judicial capacity. Even though it can be taken up in judicial review, that ensures that he has some critical powers which make it a key constitutional position in our democratic setup. Now that we have a fair understanding of this particular position, we will be straight up moving to understand the removal. So when we are talking about removal, first question that is asked, can the speaker be removed? Yes, there is a proper constitutional procedure for that as per Article 94C. So speaker may be removed by a resolution which has to be passed by a majority of all then members of the house, and it has to be absolute majority, and there is a proper procedure that has been laid out for it. For that, first there has to be a notice of intention to move resolution, and this notice has to be given 14 days prior minimum. After that, at least 50 MPs have to support the admission of this notice, and then motion is accepted, debate in house takes place, and then voting takes place. If this motion is passed, then speaker has to vacate the chair. Now as of now, the notice that has been submitted against Om Birla, that has 120 signatures across from the opposition, and the allegations have been of partisan behavior, not allowing the opposition MP speak, and also against the false suspension that has taken place that I was just mentioning. In this context, before even the motion has taken place, Om Birla has recused himself from the chair. Now if we talk about the recusal, we need to understand, yes, there is a provision about that, but it is not up and until that resolution is in consideration. So when we are talking about recusal, as per Article 96(1), the speaker shall not preside when resolution for his removal is under consideration. During that time, speaker cannot preside. Other than that, he can. During this resolution, it is deputy speaker who takes up the chair. And in a situation where speaker and deputy speaker both are absent, another member can preside. Now, in this context, you have to understand, as of now, the resolution is not under consideration. It will be taken up in the next session around March 9. But Om Birla has already recused himself in order to ensure the fairness. So that is something that we have seen afresh, and that is not given in the provision. That is not given under the provisions, because speaker can participate. The speaker can be present up and until his resolution is taken up in the house. Furthermore, speaker can be part of that debate. He can take part there. He can defend the allegations which are being put in, but he cannot sit in the chair when the resolution is in consideration. So you have to remember where the provision kicks in, because this might be a technical point on which the questions might be made. Now on this note, we will be addressing the last dimension around it, is the fact that why are we talking about this? What are the implications around this? So when we are talking about such an important constitutional post such as Speaker of Lok Sabha, it is important to understand that when we are talking about notice for his removal, it has institutional concerns around it. Institutional concerns such as there is erosion of trust between opposition and the chair. That means the opposition does not believe that the sanctity of this house is being maintained, procedural fairness is being maintained, and that leads to polarization within the legislative house itself. And when we talk about the speaker, which is associated with neutrality, when there are questions related to impartiality coming in, this indicates towards majoritarian systems in itself. and there are democratic dimensions which might be being compromised because of all this, because opposition rights need to be protected, not violated, because again, fundamental of democracy. Parliamentary accountability mechanisms cannot be compromised because they are the ones which ensure that the representatives are there to voice the whole nation's concerns, issues and other things. And also it is the place where maintains a balance between political majority and constitutional morality as well. Now on this note, I will be leaving you here with a practice question. You can put down your answers in the comment section. If you have any other doubts, let me know in the comment section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.